If we had seat belts on these chairs, it'd be appropriate time to buckle them up right now. We are starting out with our first really top-notch speaker, Kraig Kramers. Kraig's been CEO of 8 operating companies, negotiated the acquisition of 70 businesses, and lived in 48 places in his 60 years of life. Obviously can't hold a job. Today he runs Corporate Partners, the leading profit acceleration consulting firm in the Southeast. And he speaks over 100 times a year to CEOs and business owners. He was recently named Speaker of the Year among 1,500 speakers that address business owners and CEOs. He just published his first book, CEO Tools for Every Manager's Success, which has sold more than 10,000 copies in just 2 years. He's a been there, done that kind of person. With insights about the CEO Toolkit you are really going to enjoy, Kraig Kramers. Please welcome him.
And let me go straight to the tool. It's called Trailing 12-Month Charts. Anybody here use them already? You'd know if you do. Wonderful. Okay. Yeah, I recognize a couple of you. All right. For you that have the tool already, I'm going to extend it. I'm going to give it to you in spades so you can. It works so much better. For these that don't have the tool, I've got to get everybody in the room to grab this tool. If there's one thing I am evangelical about, it is this. Sorry, but trailing 12-month charts really, really work. I know most CEOs hate charts and numbers and computers. I know that. I mean, deep down, you may have one, you may have gotten into it, but deep down inside, you hate it. I did tests on this. I surveyed CEOs, so I understand this. But use this tool. I'm going to make it real easy for you to use, and you're going to make money with it. Okay, here's how it works. The upper chart is an ordinary monthly sales chart. The chart below it is a trailing 12-month chart using the same numbers. So why are we even doing this lower chart if we've got the ordinary monthly sales chart that everybody is familiar with? It's because that ordinary monthly sales chart lies to you. It's been lying to you since you first stumbled across it in the 4th grade, and nobody has told you it lied to you. It lies intermittently, the way a real liar lies. So you can't tell when it's lying. You know, if a liar lied all the time, you just throw him out the door. All right, got it? So you have, in fact, in your life, in your business career, you have made some bad decisions because you've been looking at bad displays, whether it's an ordinary monthly chart or columns of numbers. It has happened. It happened to me, okay? So that's why we have the lower chart. The lower chart always tells you the truth, 100% of the time. 100% of the time. How do you use the lower chart? Hey, here's how you read it. Up is good, down is bad, period. Okay, that's what you thought the upper one was doing. How does the upper one lie? I'll give you the simplest way. Upper chart goes down this month. That might be good. Might have gone down less than in the same month last year. And you can't tell by looking because there's no absolute reference point, unless it's dramatically different, in which case you can tell. All right. What's even worse is ordinary monthly chart on sales, the top chart goes up. Everybody on the planet says that's good. That might be bad. It might have gone up less than in the same month last year. And even worse, you might have a string of 3 or 4 of those going up less than last year, and you cannot see it. And then you'll say to me, well, Kraig, I'll use a year-to-date chart. Even worse. Year-to-date chart's only accurate once a year. Think about it a little bit. It'll come to you. And let me tell you why this thing works, okay? How this lower chart works. Each dot on this chart is the sum of the past 12 months' sales. So you just add the past 12 months' sales, and that gives you that dot right there. So we're sitting here in November. We got our October numbers, our October sales numbers in our companies, okay? How do you put October on the lower chart? You add the sales from last November through this October, that 12-month total, take that single total number and post it here for October. And it will now tell you the truth. So you go back 2 years, get 2 years of history, and put the year that you're now in on the chart and start tracking it. You'll be amazed. You'll be amazed how it works. Why does it work? Remember the curious physicist? Okay, here's how it works. Each dot has absolute commonality with every other dot as far as you can possibly do it. There's some other things, but don't worry about those, okay? Generally don't worry about those, all right? Each dot has a relationship to the other dots. That's not true on that upper chart because of seasonality, if nothing else, but there are lots of other things. This chart below has no seasonality in it. And so here's how it works. When you post February on this chart, it has 365 days. When you post March on this chart, it has 365 days. So they are absolutely comparable. In fact, it even solves for the question of how many selling days were there in each month. It eliminates that as a variable. It eliminates all kinds of things that in mathematics are called regular periodic perturbations. I knew you'd want to hear about that. Seasonality is one of those. The February-March syndrome is another one of those. There's several of them. And it flattens, it fixes all that. So now how do we make money with this lower chart? Okay, let's take a look at the upper chart for a second, because this one has no seasonality in it. So let's look at the seasonality. You see the seasonal downturn up there in that time of the year? Next year, the same time of the year, there's a seasonal downturn. Out here in the third year, there'll be a seasonal downturn. It's the way this industry and company work. What you can't tell me during the seasonal downturn is, are we doing better or worse than during the same period last year? You'll drive yourself crazy trying to figure it out, okay? All you have to do is look at the lower chart. So see, during that seasonal downturn, we had a little hitch in the giddy up, but we kept going up. During that seasonal downturn, we genuinely went down for 8 months in a row. I will tell you this, there is no other methodology known to humankind that will tell you when you have a genuine downturn during a seasonal downturn on the planet. Nobody else knows how to do that. There's no other way other than this trailing 12-month chart. And it absolutely tells you. That's a real downturn in sales. But you didn't know because you just went into drone zone during the seasonal downturn, because that's what everybody does during a seasonal downturn. I'm going to drone zone, you know. Automatic cruise control. Do you know that the best time to take market share away from your competitors is during a seasonal downturn and during a recession or an industry downturn? That's when to do it, but you got to be a little bit smarter. So that's why we have these tools. So let's say you and I are arch competitors. Just say we're competitors for a second. You don't have this tool and I do. The minute it goes sideways right there, okay, I grab my phone, I call my sales force. I say, hey, sales force, we just had this little bump in the road. Could each of you go out and get us 2 extra orders this week? We really need it. Could you do that, please? And so my sales force is going to go to work. And guess what? My sales are going to go up right there while yours continue down 6 or 7 more months. I'm going to take that action and get that result every time my chart goes sideways or down. Who's going to win this little game amongst us competitors in the long run? You've got to have this chart before your competitors get it. And I speak to lots of audiences. I'm not intentionally telling your competitors, but, you know, what the heck? All right. What I'm asking you to do is please go back to your company and get a chart on sales on a trailing 12-month basis. By the way, Tim, TK, it should take your controller, a numbers person, 10 minutes to do this. Okay? I'm picking on him. All right. It should take 10 minutes. It's not a big process. All you do is strip the numbers out here and put yours in, and you got instant trailing 12-month charts. Now, look, here's the big one. Same idea, but we're going to take it a step further. Go back to your company and brainstorm with your people on what causes sales. What causes sales? And put it on a trailing 12-month chart. You will be amazed at what you're seeing. At the printing company, what causes sales happened 80 days before the dots ever hit those charts. And it's always way beforehand. 80 days. And it's FaceTime with customers, because printing is a technical sale. Every print job is different. Got to work out the details with the customer. All right? So you work out the details. We do a quote. Customer signs a quote. We got the order. That's how it works. 80 days before the dots hit the sales charts. See, we don't manage sales. We manage what causes sales. So figure out in your outfit what causes sales. And it's different things in different companies. Less than 50% of all companies is it sales feet on the street. So it's not salespeople in many companies. It's number of direct mail drops, advertising, number of telemarketing calls, in some rare cases, trade shows. Some people say to me, well, I got 5 things that cause sales in our company, Kraig. Well, every company does, but Pareto's principle works here. The 80-20 rule, one of the 5 drives 80% of the action. Figure out what that is. And I find that 80% of all CEOs do not know what causes sales in their business. This is an opportunity for you, because when you do figure out what causes sales, you have the silver bullet, if there is such a thing. You got the key to Jim Collins' bus. Good, great, put the right people on the bus, you know, you put them in the right seats and you get to go. Well, now you got the key. I mean, you open the door, you let everybody in, and you drive that bus anywhere you want to, at any speed you want to. This is magic, what causes sales. And we've been ignoring it all these years. While you're, yes, Tim?
How do you put what causes sales, Kraig, on the trailing 12 months?
Well, let's say it's number of salespeople. You put average number of salespeople, month by month by month. So you got a trailing, actually it's a 12-month moving average, but it's the same kind of chart. Does that everybody make sense to everybody? Yeah. So, and you can put, by the way, you can put anything on a trailing 12-month chart or 12-month moving average chart. They're essentially the same thing. All right. While you're brainstorming this with your troops and figuring out what causes sales and honing in on that, gather the information now to track it on a trailing 52-week chart. Same kind of chart, but you get a readout every week. So you can make the call to your sales force or whatever it is, okay, in real time. You'll be way ahead of your competition. By the way, most of this stuff is either on the seat, and it's fully talked about in my book. It's either on the CD in the back of my book, And I'll show you how to get hold of this later if you want. There are 24 tools on that. Or it's on my website. And my website is ceotools.com. It's on virtually every page. So, you'll find it. It's there. It works. All right? Trailing 12-month chart. Everybody, and what causes sales. Got the basics? Let's take it a step further. 4 charts on a page. It's all from the same company's P&L, their income statement. And you wouldn't see this any other way except with trailing 12-month charts, 12-month moving average charts. Growing on sales, flattens out, stays flat for several years. Despite that, gross margin dollars remain strong. But even with strong gross profit dollars, their net income plummets. What could it be? How about operating expenses? Yeah, what's between gross profit and the bottom line? SG&A, selling general administrative, operating expenses. And look at this. They don't get on top of it and cut it till way out here when they should have cut it back in here when they knew they were flat. And I contend 99% of all companies are run this way. Too late. And what's the culprit causing it to be too late? It's a 4-letter word called hope. Hope. They're hoping sales will go up. They're hoping somebody will quit and relieve us of the expenses. Look, hope is fine in our personal lives. All right? Faith, hope, charity. Okay, that's all good. All right? But not in business. Hope is not a strategy. All right? Come on. Okay? Had they cut people where they could have and should have right back here, they would have saved all that money, all that profit, and all that cash in that trial. Look at how much money that is. And I've studied it. 99% of all companies are doing it this way. Too late, throwing away money like it's water or worse. I mean, I don't know. It's crazy. So today, I wouldn't run a company without these 4 charts. None of my clients run a company without these 4 charts. This is the first thing we do is I want to see what's really going on because you can't tell by looking at their I sort of can tell by looking at their financial statements. But that's because I really learned how to read financial statements years ago. I read between the numbers. I mean, okay? Use this. It's powerful. I asked this company, why don't we take operating expenses? I'm on their board, by the way. Okay. So why don't we take operating expenses as a % of sales? That would be an interesting chart. Well, let's take a look. Let's take a look. It's garbage, but you could make something out of it. This is operating expense as a % of sales over an 8-year period. I asked them for the long period of it, as much as they had. Does anybody see a pattern here? Huh? Is this a definition of an insanity? Trying the same thing over and over and over again? In other words, hiring people, get in trouble, fire people. Hiring people, get in trouble, fire people. Hiring people, get in trouble, fire people. I call it business bulimia. Binge purge, binge purge, binge purge, binge purge. Somebody stop me, okay? The minute the management team at this company saw this, they drew a limit line at 15% and another limit line at 16.5%, all the way across and all the way out into the future forever. And the new rule at this company is, thou shalt not cross outside the zone of profitability. And so in the years 2001 through 2004, they recreated one of these bulimic bulges inside the tube, little baby version. Perfect. It's exactly what we want. In other words, they lopped off all that wasted profit and wasted cash flow above the line. This company's awash in cash during the recession, paying down their debt faster. They took some of the money and spent it on what causes sales because they really understood it, and they bought back so much market share I can't begin to tell you. They bought market share. They just took it away from their competitors because their competitors didn't have the money to fight back. And you can do the same thing. You just need this chart. It's in the book on the CD on the back of the book if you're looking for it. I kind of tell you where it is as we go along. Remember this list of companies, how well they did in the recession? Here's the secret. They treat their employees communication, respect, and recognition and all that stuff, okay? They participate with them in setting the goals, which is what we've been talking about. Plus, they manage what causes sales. So it's not 4 charts on a page anymore. It's the same 4 we had up there a minute ago. But what we have added is what causes sales. It's just number of salespeople. And you asked a minute ago, it's 12-month moving average. How many salespeople do we have? So right here, we got 3.7 salespeople. How do you have 0.7 salespeople? Well, we really have 4, but we haven't had them for a full year yet. Got it? Figure out what drives sales, put it on a chart like this, and now you're driving sales. You're managing gross margin %, that's price and mix mainly. You're driving operating expenses down, except for the ones you're spending up there on what causes sales. And as a result, your operating profit is bouncing back. And once you figure this out, you don't get a bunch of curves like this. This one's going straight line up forever. You can really, really do that. I've done it in a bunch of companies. Many of my clients have done it. 5 charts on a page. Powerful tool. Brand new tool. I forget whether this one's in your package or not. Probably not. I call it the Forecaster. If you go to my website, click on New Tools Catalog, and then scan down, you'll find Forecaster there. Use this for budgeting next year. So when you're preparing your budget, November and December, right now, use this chart. What you see with the green, obviously that's the ordinary monthly sales chart, doesn't tell you much other than seasonality, and this is the trailing 12-month chart. So all the green dots are history, are actuals, okay? The blue dots on here are your budget through the end of 2006. This runs through December of 2006. So put your budget on a trailing 12-month basis looking forward, and then track your actuals against it. So you can see the first 3 months of 2006, this imaginary company is below its budget on sales. When you see it visually like this, it galvanizes you into action. It causes you to make something happen, okay? So let's walk through what this company would do. Here's the end of the first quarter. Their actuals are below the budget, and they can see that they're behind. So they go to work on it, and they go get some more sales, and they make it happen. So at the end of the second quarter, they're climbing back up towards budget. That's good. But because it's the first time they've done this, they relax. You know, human beings, we all drift back into the things of the past instead of going forward with all the new stuff that we do learn and absorb. So they drift back in the third quarter by going flat again. And then they realize, they wake up and they say, we really do got it. You know, we understand what it is. So let's put it to work in the fourth quarter, and from now on, we're going to run the company this way so that we keep the actuals on budget. So in the fourth quarter, they do that, and it puts them back on budget. And it's only by going through this exercise that you and your people learn how to do this. It's sort of a gleaning process.